Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here are two versions of Surah Al-Fatiha. The first chapter of the Quran. One version contains 6 verses, while the other contains 7, counting the Bismillah as the first verse. This is the version that has 7 verses, and Bismillah is a verse in this. And here we have 6 verses. Bismillah is not a verse. Which version is accurate and why? The number of verses in Surah Al-Fatiha has been debated for centuries, with the source of disagreement being verse 87 of chapter 15, and here is the verse 87. We have given you 7 of the often recited and the great Quran. Verse 87 does not clarify what these 7 often recited are. Here are some examples of disagreement questions. Are these 7 often recited distinct from the Quran? Are these 7 often recited verses or chapters? Which specific verses are being referred to? Which specific chapters are being referred to? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Despite centuries of debates surrounding verse 87 of chapter 15, such discussions only touch the surface, the tip of the iceberg. You are going to understand, inshallah, the true significance of verse 87 and its ramifications in the present and subsequent videos. To objectively understand the significance of verse 87 of chapter 15, as well as its broader ramifications, it is crucial to recognize that chapter 15 marks the conclusion of the first group of mysterious letter combinations known as Muqatta'at. This is something that we have to know. Other than that, we cannot understand verse 87 of chapter 15, and inshallah, shortly you're going to see why. Without Muqatta'at, our understanding of the Quran remains skin deep and superficial. Over here we have group 1, and it has 9 chapters. These 9 chapters have letter combinations, and the last one of them is chapter 15. Muqatta'at are arranged into 4 groups. We proved this in earlier discussion. The first 3 of which are almost identical, we can see. Over here we have 9 chapters, 9 chapters, 9 chapters. These 9 chapters they have letter combinations. And you can see that in the beginning of this one, there are 2 consecutive ones, 2 and 3. Then chapter 7 is alone. Then we have 6 consecutive ones. All of these have letter combinations. Now you go to the group 2, you see almost the same thing. You see 2 in the beginning. These 2 are consecutive, 19 and 20. And then you see 7 consecutive chapters that have letter combinations. And then you go to this group, and you can see the same thing. You can see the 7 consecutive chapters have letter combinations, and the other 2 chapters that have letter combinations, they have a gap between them. But basically, they are identical. So Muqatta'at are arranged into 4 groups, the first 3 of which are almost identical, and each group is separated from the next by 3 chapters with no letter combinations. So this is something we have to know. The next thing that we need to know is that it is also crucial to recognize that letter combinations appear between the Surah Al-Fatiha, which has a disputed number of verses, and the chapter of reality, whose opening verses challenge our perception of it. These are the 3 verses, and they come immediately in the beginning of chapter that is after the last chapter that has the letter combination. It's immediately. And this is the beginning of chapter 69. The ultimate reality. What is the ultimate reality? And what will make you realize what the ultimate reality is? These verses point to a link between the letter combinations and ultimate reality, implying that our perception of reality may only be a superficial layer that conceals a deeper truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not play dice. Everything is intentional and by design in here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Here at the top we have verse 87 of chapter 15. And here we have group 1. For almost 1,400 years, no one has, has been listening to these beautiful letter combinations. So we have the 9 of them. Now they're going to talk to us. Here we have 2, 3, 7, and all the other 6. And what we're going to do basically, we're going to add these numbers. Very easy. Just add them up. You see, if you didn't have the G1 group, you wouldn't ended up at 15. But you are ending yours at 15. So 15 is the last one. And this is so significant. What if it was 16 or 17 or something else? Now let's see what happened. When you add these numbers, now you have 15 and 87 appearing here, which is the same as appearing here. This is a poetic expression. Beautiful. This event is neither a coincidence nor a miracle. it signifies something much larger. This is the tip of the iceberg. The chapter numbers are finely tuned to add up to chapter 15 and verse 87. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not play dice. This is divine. The harmony between the chapter numbers and verse 87 of chapter 15 resonates like poetry. Now we have the same G1, but this time we have the chapter verses, all 9 of them, 286 verses in chapter 2 and 99 verses in chapter 15 and so on. In Arabic, letters are written from the right to left and numbers from left to right. Like for example, chapter 2 is here in numbers, but the letter combination of chapter 2 is here. So now we see that the letter combination of chapter 2 has 3 letters. Now we go to chapter 3. And we see that the chapter 3 letter combination also has 3 letters. Now we go to chapter 7, which is different, and there is a gap before it and after it. And we notice that that chapter letter combination is composed of 4 letters. And we see that chapter 10, 11, and 12, they have 3 letters each. But then we see chapter 13 has 4 letters again. And when we look at this, we see that chapter 13 has the numbers of the chapter are only 43, which is the lowest of these numbers. So there, you see there is some sort of relationship in here, an order. It's much, much, much deeper than this, but at least from a visual point of view, you can see it. Now we're going to add these numbers that have been forming a very beautiful poetic order. 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3 is a very balanced set of numbers. Now we're going to add these together. And what we see is that when we add those together, we get number 29. Now we know that in previous page that was including only the chapter numbers of these 9, we had 87, but now you have 29, and at this time instead of number we have an equation, a beautiful equation that's very significant in coming works. This beautiful equation, what does it do? Unifies the chapter numbers, which are 87, and the letter counts, which are 29, of the first group of the mysterious letter combination. So one simple equation, a divine equation, unifies everything here. And the sum of the verses of all these from 286 through 99 is also 1229, a very beautiful prime number. We have those numbers up there. Now, number 29 is the key to grasping verse 87 of chapter 15. You're going to see this time and again, inshallah, in coming videos. Number 29 is the key to grasping verse 87 of chapter 15. The 29 mysterious letter combinations, Muqatta'at, and the rest of the Quran. It is also present in Surah Al-Fatiha, which is known as the chapter of the key, provided that it contains 7 verses. The 7 verses are composed of a total of 29 words. So for our upcoming calculations, we will assume that Surah Al-Fatiha consists of 7 verses and 29 words. Now here is a fact. These simple equations are simple. It's not calculus. These simple, beautiful, poetic, objective, you can prove them and you can see them. It's not hadith or it's not tafsir or opinion. Objective, verifiable, and meaningful equations from the Quran are linked to mysterious letter combinations known as Muqatta'at and verse 87 of chapter 15. This is defendable. You can prove it. And here is a question. Where did the notion that the people couldn't understand the letter combination come from? If you know it, please let us know. Inshallah, in next video, we continue this work. God bless you and all the good people on the world. Have a nice one.